And I believe tonight is our Halloween episode, Leon.
Hallow Night's Eve.
That's correct. All Hallows Eve. The night before All Hallows Day, also referred to as Dia de los Muertos, for those of you that enjoyed the film Coco.
You know, the older I get, the more I start leaning towards that holiday because it makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween still, I can't wrap my head around, except for when you're a kid, it's like the most glorious thing of all time.
It is. It is. Speaking of glory, do you know what number episode this is, Leon?
We've got to be in the 60s.
That's right. Episode 66.
Execute Order 66.
Let's start the show. Welcome to the Bottle of Brown podcast. I'm your host, Danny Paul. Joining me in the Bob Media Studios is the Baron of Bourbon, the Regent of Rage, Leon Coventry, ladies and gentlemen.
Danny, I can't be the Regent of Rage when there's so much glorious candy on everyone's desks that you walk by these days.
That's right. So what are you going to be? You're going to be the
Regent of Stretch Pants, maybe? of the fourth wipe and the
Wizard
toilet?
of the Elastic Waistband? The Sultan of Sweats. Oh, son.
Oh my gosh. I love this season. It's perfectly placed for the people in the Midwest that have to go through a winter, but it does not make sense for us in the desert, does it?
It's kind of, technically it's sweater weather, I guess one could say, if one were so.
No, I don't know whoever those people are. I need to talk to them. It is still ridiculously hot.
I got to tell you, for those of you in the Phoenix region, the high was 90 today, and it's currently 72 outside. So October, or as I like to say, Rocktober, out here in Phoenix is the time and place to be. So if any of you want to come to the desert, but you're afraid of being on the surface of the sun or being bone chilling cold at night, come out in October.
Talk to me about early February, because I would really love to come out and do a special show for the Phoenix Open.
A special show.
Just got named by the PGA as one of their new massive payouts. You know, they're trying to compete with the Live.
Yes. TPC Scottsdale. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I want to say it's in the 70s, mid 70s in the heat of the day. And then it gets down probably to the 50s at night. It's not uncommon to have 20-degree swings in the Phoenix area. Like it is not. That's just one of the features out here. So if it's really nice during the day, you can bet it's cold at night. And if it's really hot during the day, you can bet it's awesome at night. Are
you offering up floor space to good friends and co-hosts?
I have many couches. I have a plethora of couches in Wapo.
Ify, what is a plethora?
What is a plethora? We got a great show tonight, Leon. You know why? Because every show at the Bottle of Brown podcast is a great show.
They get a little bit better when Mr. Jomes doesn't come too.
Yeah, we are without Mr. Jomes tonight for those of you at home paying attention. But that's okay. We got a good show today because we're going to talk about what is an IPA. We're going to talk about how the United States has regained all the jobs it lost during the pandemic. We've got a fun little thing about a gourd among men. Firefighters had a little trouble in Florida, which again, why we like Florida. When you become a dad, your brain shrinks. And we're going to finish up with a load from Mr. Leon and the bottom of the bottle. So before we kick things off, Leon, what's your brown for tonight?
You know, I went tonight with what I think is a pretty good one, and it's also pretty easy to find. Four Roses Single Barrel. It's you usually can find it in one of your local stores. It's pretty fairly priced. This one's about 100 proof, and it's really good. It's definitely the upscale version of their Four Roses, and they have better ones than this one, but it's right in the middle of the road. So easy
Single
to get,
barrel,
not that expensive. Single barrel
original Brown
Four
Bulletin.
Roses.
Am I correct?
Yeah, it was in there. Yep.
That was easy.
That's right.
How about you?
I will be rocking my tried and true green label this time. So those of you keeping score at home, Leon's go-to is the Buffalo Trace. Danny's go-to is the green label from the Johnniest of Walkers. Do we know what Mr. Jones's go-to is? Has he ever identified one?
I don't think that he has, but with the communications he's been sending, I feel like he's becoming a Buffalo Trace man. I just don't know which flavor is his favorite. It seems like every time he buys something,
he keeps stumbling on Weller's and Colonel Taylor and this magic Safeway of his.
I know. I got to go to this
pilgrimage to that Safeway because apparently the aisles are littered in gold.
Yeah, I hope every time I go into a Target or a Thrifty or if there's even left, go in there and just find that golden bottle that nobody has any idea how glorious it is. And Mr. Jones just keeps being the guy. Oh, it is. And it's very low priced. Like it's very rarely going to be more than $35 a bottle. So if you see it, it'd be hard for you to, unless you know what you're looking for to know that that's pretty unique.
I think that's the fun part if you know what you're looking for. Because he pulled home, what did he send us? He sent us a message saying he couldn't join us tonight, but he got a couple of pickups of the Colonel.
Yep. 40 at $42 or something a bottle. Oh, what a steal.
Thumbed up.
That's the fun part of being a bourbon hunter. You know what you're doing.
Yep. The kill.
It is the kill. Let's talk about Brown.
And the kill. I'm with you. Now that we talked about Brown, let's talk about Brown.
How you doing? Whiskey and whiskey.
This is the darkest brown you got.
Yeah.
Say, Holmes, where they hiding the scotch?
What about,
Brown?
That's code for bourbon.
Great stuff, this bourbon. It comes from a land called Kentucky.
Talk about Brown.
There's a special rung in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch.
Scotch?
Oh, yes, I think so.
Could I have one more of these with some booze in it, please?
Let's talk about Brown. Comes to us from the USA Today. Real news, people. Comes to us from October 11th. Been holding on to this for a little over a week. But would you say there's a Halloween Brown, Leon?
I don't know that I would designate it with Halloween, but all the Oktoberfest ales that are out there that come around this time of year, yeah, that's, I guess I associate those with her. I would also say
September is typically National or International Bourbon Month, and we celebrated last month with bourbon. It would make sense because of Oktoberfest that beer of any kind is probably the drink of October. And so in the spirit of Oktoberfest and beer, let's talk about what an IPA is. The article opens up, what is an IPA? Explaining the beer and its subcategories, Imperial, Hazy, Session. In 2021, enough beer was shipped by the U.S. beer industry to fill more than 2.9 billion cases, according to the National Beer Wholesalers Association. But not all beer is created equal. With ales, lagers, and so many subcategories within each, two types of beer can taste wildly different, which can make buying beer intimidating for the average consumer. Walking through a liquor store in search of a new and interesting six-pack can be confusing because of the complex jargon common in the beer industry, but we have the information you need. Ho, 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 ho. First off, Liam, what is an IPA?
I believe it stands, or at least I always thought it was an India Pale Ale or Indiana Pale Ale.
Pale Ale, sir. You are correct. It comes from the country of India.
Yeah. Okay. I got that right.
The reason for that is because this was a journey from Britain to India and the hops during that journey, which we'll get to in the following text. But it is India Pale Ale, not Indian Pale Ale, not Independent Pale Ale, not Individual Pale Ale. For those of you paying attention, this has to do with colonization, my friends. Everyone's favorite subject.
Before we get too deep in this, are you an IPA fan?
I do like IPAs.
Yeah.
I can't have more than a couple, though. You end up scraping them off your tongue. However, at the bottom of the article, we do address the session IPA, and that is Danny's Jam.
Oh, okay. I avoid them like the plague. I can't even pretend to enjoy one anymore. There was a time when I wanted to be one of the cool guys, when everyone's ordering those. And then, as you get older and you stop giving a fuck what people think about you or what you drink, I was very quick to say that tastes like snot, very much like how our good friend Ted Lasso feels about tea. That's how I feel about IPA.
Dirty brown water.
Dirty brown water. That's disgusting.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, now that we've established our point-counterpoint, Jane, you ignorant slut. The history of the term dates back to the British Empire and its colonies, but if you ask Stone Brewing, today's IPA is a different beast. Today, American IPAs are around 6 to 7% alcohol by volume, and while there are many types, Stone Brewing says they are most easily recognized by their hoppy flavor. Now, hops, plural, lots of hops. What are hops? According to Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, which is one of my favorites for sure, hops are green, cone-shaped flowers that come from a plant called Humulus lupulus. Pods and glands in the flower create the bitterness, aroma, and flavor of an IPA. Hops, according to Ryan
super loud all of a sudden,
is one of like 4 ingredients for true beer, right?
Yeah.
So you get a very distinct flavor, you get a very distinct smell out of it, and there's often a citrusy feel to it. So it is a plant. So it is a very specific type of beer that is made with hops. So the 3 that we're going to talk about today are Imperial, Hazy, and Session. Session being my personal favorite. The one that you're probably familiar with the most, Leon, is the Imperial, because that's the one you got to scrape off your tongue. An Imperial IPA, also known as a double, tends to be at least 8% alcohol by volume, according to Stone. This beer is darker and more bitter than a traditional IPA. When an Imperial IPA reaches 10% or higher, it may also be called a triple, and in some cases, a barley wine. We used to get a 6-pack of Bigfoot Ale.
Oh,
there was
I
one
remember
that Sierra Nevada made every winter. You remember that one? It was like 9%. They had to call it a barley wine because I guess they couldn't advertise it as a beer. You could take 3 of those for the weekend. Like that thing was awesome.
Yeah. I've had those. And I could never drink one sober. I had to be drunk to even try to get that thing down.
I remember when it was.
I think you had to drink it with a spoon.
It was thick for sure. It was a smoothie, but you get a 6 and you'd be good for the weekend. So it's like, let's get a 6 of Sasquatch. We don't have any money. We'll just drink that 6 over the course of the weekend. After the Imperial comes the Hazy IPA. Now, Hazy IPAs are a bit of a wild card and can be in any range in terms of alcohol by volume. But this type of IPA is distinguished by its unfiltered, less bitter taste. And typically a Hazy IPA is one where like you don't ever want to shake a beer, right? But if you can kind of, lightly rock it back and forth, you'll see that it's not filtered and it's actually got essence of beer in it. Almost like, I don't even know what to refer to it, but it's not just a liquid. I mean, there is actual sediment.
Like the mash is in there.
A hazy, maybe the mash, right? So but it's in the bottle. You can see it. Now, the third category, which I've said many times is my favorite, I'm going to keep saying it till the end of the day, is the Session. The Session IPA, by definition, is 4 or 5% alcohol by volume. The Session would go up against some of your tried and true favorites like Corona or Coors Light, Budweiser, your table beers, right? And they're known as Session IPAs because you can have more than one in a session with friends due to their relatively low alcohol by volume. And so I typically get Sessions. My favorite beer is the Daily Driver from Mother Road Brewing Company out of Flagstaff, Arizona, because it tastes like an IPA, but it isn't. You can have a couple of them and enjoy yourself. And, I enjoy the drinking experience without having to worry about, can I drive home or not? And so that's usually where I come down on the Session. But you, Leon, are not an IPA man, as it were, heretofore.
If I was to pick one, it would have been the first one because the only reason I'd ever be drinking an IPA is to get drunk because it certainly isn't for the taste. So I'd be far away from the Session because that tastes like dirt.
Clearly not for you.
Yeah, I'm a Pilsner guy. I like the lighter, and I do like the hefts. I like a weedy, blue moony type of beer. Actually, what disappoints me about California, and I don't even know what you call this category, but you know how you heard of Kugel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have the summer shandy, which is basically
shandy. That's good.
Beer lemonade. That is what you should be drinking in the summer. That is phenomenal.
It is delicious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the kind of beer I like to drink if I'm drinking beer.
I'm told that's a very Wisconsin beer.
Yeah,
well, that summer shandy.
Yeah, it is definitely that, and you get up in the Midwest there in the Indiana and Ohio and area. You're drinking in Michigan. You're drinking Oberon. You're drinking, those kinds of. I wouldn't call them heavier beers. They're still wheat. They're not hoppy,
right?
But yeah, they're good Yingling, those types of beers. So I'm a fan of those, not the hoppy kind. And
there's a Pilsner, there's a stout, there's a lager, there's an ale, multiple different kinds of ale. So we've been talking about American India pale ales, but there's traditional India pale ale. What am I missing? You talked about the Hefeweizen, you talked about the shandy.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be at least 6, maybe 8 categories of beer. And then, of course, sub-variants of all of them. So there is a beer out there for you if you're listening.
Mm-hmm. Well, as an IPA drinker, and it sounds like when you're drinking a beer, if you had a choice of a beer, you're in one of those tap rooms that has 100 taps. Sounds to me like you're going for the IPA.
I would go for the IPA, right.
Which a lot of people do that consider themselves distinguished drinkers seem to go for the IPA. What do you think of people like me that choose not to drink the IPA? Do you have judgment against us?
I think that I would invite you because then I would get to drink more of my beer.
Mm-hmm.
And so the great beer mishmash invites all kinds because then there's more for everybody. There is a kind that I'm looking for.
You do not bite your teeth at me, sir?
Absolutely not. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. I do but bite my thumb.
But do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
I do but bite my thumb, sir. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir.
Good job.
Romeo and Juliet, ladies and gentlemen. Danny and Leon Theater. No, I invite all kinds, but if I had to choose, I would choose a session IPA because it's got flavor and it's got light, and those are a good mishmash of things. Because what I find is some of the lighter versions, like an IPA, you can let an IPA sit, and if it gets less cool, I don't want to say warm because that's not right. If it gets less cool, it's still good and it's still refreshing. But some of the lighter beers, I think you have to drink them while they're cold. Now, there's one that I'm looking for that's extremely dry, which means it's got a lot of bubbles and it scrapes your throat on the way down. And I think a lot of Belgian beers are like that.
Mm. What would you consider, or what is Guinness considered? What is that?
I believe Guinness is a stout.
Okay.
Which makes it very milkshakey.
Yeah.
So if it's dark, if it's thick, if it's got really, really rich foam, I believe that's referred to as a stout.
Okay.
So you're a Pilsner stout man.
I'm a Pilsner stout man.
Hefeweizen man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah, and honestly, let's go back to Farva. 6 Schlitzes, whatever's free.
No, in college, it was whatever somebody handed to me. I would have drank it, of course.
Yeah, I got house cup. All right, what are we drinking?
Yeah, what's in the keg? Yeah, I'll have that. Whatever's there.
I'll have what she's having. Okay, keg it is.
But IPAs are expensive, so going to a keg party with an IPA is almost
no. I mean, you don't. No, an IPA is to be enjoyed. Like you never play Edward 40 hands with IPA. Like it's just there are rules.
No beer pong. No beer pong.
You don't play beer pong with IPAs. No, IPAs like that's why I consider it in the category of brown. It's you sip it. You don't shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no pounding of an IPA because 1, you don't get to enjoy it, and 2, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Typical IPA is usually more expensive than your beer bong and beer.
Why do you think so?
It is known.
Well, it is known. Is it more expensive to make?
There's more that goes into the process. Yeah, the reason they call them craft beers is typically because they're made in smaller quantities. So your mass-produced beer, which is not bad. I'm not shitting on the Coors Lights of the world, but they have their place and they have their purpose. Like I will not drink an Imperial IPA in the summer. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. We all learned something today.
Which is good.
That's why the Bobs come here to learn.
That's where they come. They come for the knowledge. They stay for the joy. And we'll be right back.
I do but bite my thumb, sir.
I say that you are a villain. And that thou art Capulet.
I love that you picked that up so quick. Nobody else would have possibly gotten that reference.
Did I say Queen Mab hath been with you? Welcome back. Let's get into business news.
News team, assemble!
Let's get down to business.
And I got news for you.
Nice business news comes to us from Business Insider. This one's a little older, Leon. I grabbed this one from August. So we are recording this 20th of October. It's Big Sal's birthday today. Did you say happy birthday to Big Sal?
I did.
Very good, man. I wonder if there are slight changes from this because it seems fairly clear that we are headed into a recession. So probably somewhere in the 80s or 90s.
We're in one. We're in one. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Who cares? I got a job. You get a job. My investments are still making money.
Yeah, not my 401k.
Let's give somebody a shoulder to cry on because recessions suck. However, according to August 5th, Business Insider, the United States has now regained all the jobs it lost in the pandemic. The U.S. has recouped all of its jobs it lost during the coronavirus recession. The rebound took 29 months, nearly 3 times faster than the recovery from the Great Recession in 2008. Unemployment also sits at the same 3.5% rate the U.S. boasted in early 2020. The article begins, after 29 months of economic recovery, the United States has recouped every job lost during the coronavirus recession. The U.S. added 528,000 non-farm payrolls in July, marking the largest one-month gain since February 2022, more than doubling the average forecast. The economy now boasts roughly 152 million jobs. That's 32,000 more payrolls than in February 2020, which marked the labor market's peak before the coronavirus pandemic erased roughly 22 million jobs in just 2 months. The unemployment rate also returned to its pre-pandemic record, sliding through July to 3.5% from 3.6%. That means the U.S. is back to a record high number of jobs. The achievement is the latest to mark the extraordinary pace of the pandemic recovery. Massive government stimulus, vaccine rollouts, and the swift reopening of the economy all contributed to a superlative rebound over the past 2 years. While some data shows the pace of improvement easing, the latest jobs data caps one of the fastest labor market recoveries in modern history. And there's a graph on this. Like always, we share the links in the show notes. This one has a very exciting, would you even call that a V-shaped graph, Leon?
Yeah, it looks almost more like a check mark.
Yeah.
But can in modern history where data was collected like this, where we actually had some idea, which still I call bullshit on almost all of these statistics because I don't know how they even pull the numbers, qualify the numbers. All that being said, I think that, of course it has to, right? Because this was an artificial shutdown. This didn't happen because the war blew up a city, right? It didn't happen because a massive amount of the population died of the plague. It was an absolute artificial shutdown. So why wouldn't you expect the artificial turn back on to have a rebound like this? Mm-hmm. I would have been incredibly disappointed, not to mention the incredible influx of funds, from the government to keep businesses alive that otherwise would have folded. So I understand that we would have expected that. I still don't. I'm apprehensive when numbers like this come down the pipe, because I think, what was it, like 2 months ago when we started to have a semi-political conversation, and I'm just big surprise, everyone out there. I'm a big skeptic when it comes to data, because we've already talked about it. Like, only 1/100th of this planet knows how to use Excel properly. So I don't know where they're getting the data. I don't know how they're qualifying the data. I don't know what data they're leaving out. This kind of data can be so easily skewed just to tell the right story. And I would also say, when did this story come out?
This is August 5th.
Okay, August 5th. So that actually makes me feel a little bit better about it, because
it comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics from the Federal Reserve.
Any statistics, any numbers, anything that's coming out in the next 3 to 4 weeks, actually 3 weeks really at this point, be skeptical of it, because there's a lot of information on all political sides coming out right now so that they can try to win an election. And it really isn't going to do.
Right. We should talk about this stuff in November.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're coming up on it, but I think, it doesn't matter what side you fall on. A lot of information is being pumped out from both sides right now to tell you how either great the incumbent's doing or how terrible the incumbent's doing, for whatever reason, and shining light on it. And I will tell you, as a analyst by trade, I can make any amount of data look good or bad and not tell you the absolute truth. So just be careful what you start to believe out there. And like I said 6 months ago, start to believe your eyes. Believe what you see. Believe what experiences you're experiencing, and don't let everybody interpolate it for you. That's all I can tell you, because the information's coming at us so damn fast. Who knows what's accurate? Who knows what a true source is anymore?
Right. And we'll all find out the truth later, right? Because it's easier to look back after everybody's had retractions.
Mm-hmm.
The article continues further. The jobs market is likely still millions of jobs shy of where it would have been absent the pandemic. The recovery only brings the U.S. to its pre-crisis employment level, meaning there are 29 months of job creation that would have taken place had the pandemic not occurred. In the year before the pandemic hit in February 2020, the U.S. added an average of about 200,000 jobs a month. And if it had kept up that pace over the last 2.5 years, the country would have added nearly 6 million jobs. It will take several more months, if not years, to make up for that lost growth, though the larger than expected July gain suggests the U.S. will continue to add payrolls at a healthy clip through 2022. And for those of you keeping score, inflation has not abated despite the continuing increase in rates from the Federal Reserve. So it's a weird time, to say the least.
Well, if it is true and genuine in the way and unbiased in the way that they're presenting the data, then I'm psyched about it. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just in a state that's not seeing that. I'm not seeing it here.
It's possible. They do give a variety of different sources that you can actually mouse over, and you can see what the curve looks like. So the best one, obviously, is the 2020 coronavirus recession. And as you aptly pointed out, Leon, it was artificial. The one from the Great Recession in 2007 is the nastiest. It drops very low, and it takes forever to get back to zero. The next one that was as bad was the dot-com crash in 2001.
That was rough.
And then some of these other recessions that you see, they came here. They got 81, 1957, 1990, 1960, 1973, 1970, and 1980. All of them had very sharp declines, followed by fairly robust returns. And so you have a pretty even V, and in some cases a bit of a U shape. But you can see that it came back roughly as bad as it went down. And with most recessions, it's just a matter of where is the bottom. So some have said that this is a white collar recession. Some have said that this is a he session or a she session. And so it doesn't seem to be shaping up to be an all across the board thing. But to Leon's point, we won't know yet. So we'll have to keep track of the story and come back to it. That's Brown News. Let's get to the crank file.
I could look for something in the crank file. Crank file. Whatever.
Today's crank file comes to us from the Today Show. And because this is a Halloween episode, I wanted to do this one special. A gourd among men. 60-year-old paddles 38 miles in hollowed out pumpkin to break the world record.
I would like to remind all the Bobs out there that you can go, Danny, you'll tell them the link again, but you can go to and see this man in a giant pumpkin, I guess.
Yeah, looks like he's sitting on a cooler, so at least you brought beer with him.
Yeah, yeah. And he's paddling down the river. It's something I think you need to see. It's going to make you smile.
Paddle, got his water skiing vest, got his camo Cabela's hat. He's living his best life.
You know, he's missing a fishing pole.
I think you are correct, sir, but you never know what's down here because we can't see the entire gourd.
Fair enough. That's a big gourd.
Dwayne Hansen of Nebraska paddled 38 miles down the Missouri River in an 846-pound pumpkin he affectionately named the SS Bertha. For one Nebraska man, all it takes is a little ingenuity and a big load of fertilizer to reach your dreams. On August 27, two official witnesses, friends, and family watched as Nebraska resident Dwayne Hansen paddled an 846-pound floating pumpkin.
Of course, his name is Dwayne.
Of course, his name is Dwayne. He is a white Dwayne, but he is still a Dwayne.
He is wearing a camel hat, so it might be hard to find him. Go ahead.
Paddled an 846-pound floating pumpkin down the Missouri River in an attempt to beat the Guinness World Record. All right. From a Facebook post from the city of Bellevue, they say if you stay in your job long enough, you might see just about everything. And this morning was one of them days. According to the Post, Hansen walked into the mayor's office the morning of August 25th and asked if two people from Bellevue City Hall would serve as official witnesses for his effort to complete a unique feat. Hansen aimed to be recognized by Guinness World Records for breaking the world record for longest journey by pumpkin boat. A record currently held by Rick Swenson of Grand Forks, North Dakota.
How pissed is Rick Swenson right now?
How pissed? Indeed.
We need an interview from Rick.
Rick,
if you're one of the Bobs out there, I would like to talk. I'd like
Rick
to hear
Swenson
how Rick
of Grand Forks, North Dakota Bobs. Send them our way. bottleofbrown@gmail.com. 602-529-4562. In 2016, Swenson managed to paddle for 25.5 miles, a distance Hansen believed he could beat. We were surprised when we saw the hollowed out pumpkin and realized that he would be sitting in the pumpkin for 11 hours while floating down the Missouri River, Phil Davidson, who works in the community relations for the city of Bellevue, told Today. Davidson served as one of Hansen's official witnesses for the event, along with Lisa Rybar, a Bellevue Community Foundation board member. Rybar and Davidson originally thought Hansen intended to float an intact giant pumpkin for over 30 miles. In the Facebook post, they said it wasn't until later in the conversation that they realized that Hansen, who had just celebrated his 60th birthday, would actually be physically riding in the pumpkin. Once you have a goal like that and you're so close, there's no way I was quitting, Hansen told Today. When I went down that river for a long way, it was tough. I was done, but I was determined. Hansen said he loved growing squashes and gourds all his life, and a few years ago became interested in growing giant pumpkins. You have a lot of failures growing giant pumpkins. I mean, I thought I could grow stuff. I thought I could grow anything. Well, he's humble you. Hansen had some success, 3, 4, or 500 pounders, but wanting to reach at least a ton. Heaviest pumpkin ever recorded was a whopping 2,700 pounds. He went to a giant pumpkin growing seminar to bone up on his gourd growing. He came up with the idea to break the record around the same time he even learned that giant pumpkin boat paddling was a thing. About 5 years ago, I went to Portland, Oregon to a giant pumpkin growing seminar, and there was a picture of this lady. I don't remember how far she went down a river, but it was a fair amount of miles, like 12. And I looked at that and thought, wow, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
This story makes me wonder what I'm doing with my life. I mean, this man looked at a picture of a pumpkin boat and a lady and said, I'm going to do that.
I can do that.
I'm going to achieve that. And he grew a massive pumpkin. He went to school, learned how to do it. And he made his dream come true. Yeah, this is an American hero.
From Bellevue, Nebraska, all the way to Oregon to learn about gourd growing, to Portland, Oregon, back to Bellevue.
Mm-hmm.
And this one here is the coup de grace right here. Once you're on the river, that damn thing was so tippy, it was unbelievable. It was like riding in a cork. You just could tip over any second. You're using your balance the whole time. I've never paid so much attention to any one thing in my entire life, other than growing an 800-pound pumpkin.
I can't believe it.
So congratulations, Dwayne, for smashing the world record. Says
congratulations, Dale. Yeah. If Rick
sir.
wants to call in and weigh in on this and feel like that he needs to challenge this record, and that's his new life goal, I want to be there on site when that happens.
Final picture, Dwayne Hansen and his giant pumpkin, SS Berta, complete with a beer holder.
Yeah, let him live.
You got to have a place for your beer. Impressive man.
Yeah.
Well done,
hero.
sir.
I don't use that word lightly, but hero.
Yeah, he did it. Had to pull this thing down in what looks like a jet ski trailer. Good times.
Exactly.
That wraps up the crank file. Let's get to Because Florida.
Because anything goes to Florida. Baby, let the good times roll. Because anything goes to Florida. Come on down and do your worst.
Tonight's Because Florida comes to us from our old friends at the Post. Firefighters free sobbing woman after she gets trapped in an electric massage chair.
I mean, this is just a great headline. Even if it's clickbait, I got to know what's going on here.
We're not really keeping track of where these are in Florida. This is actually on the West Coast. This is Gulf side. So this is Naples. Firefighters in Florida cut open an electric massage chair last week after a woman's foot got stuck in it. The Naples Fire Rescue Department posted video to its social media on Friday that shows crews working to rescue the woman as she howls in pain. Firefighters cut the power to the machine and began to take it apart. Crews used a grinder to take apart the steel rods that hold the rollers in place. As rescuers tried to free the woman's foot, video shows that it appeared to be wedged in the machine. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She could be heard screaming, "We got it!" Firefighters heard saying as they pull her foot from the machine, "It was cramped in that spot." Officials said the woman was evaluated for injuries at the scene and released. Her identity was not released. But only in Florida.
Have you ever done, the Costco sit down in one of those massage chairs, or
I like
Sharper
the ones
Image,
that vibrate like a toothbrush. I don't like the ones with the artificial rollers because I think I can see how she got stuck.
Well, the ones that are like now the cocoon kind, where you kind of get in there, the thing leans back, massages your arms, your legs, your calf, your feet. Mm-hmm. Oh, I definitely could see, because sometimes it's squeezing with some authority. I could see that happening.
With authority is a good one. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So I could see that happening. But also what's interesting here is, of all the Bobs listening to this story, and I would say easily 99.5% of people reading this article, did anyone feel bad for this person? Nobody feels bad for a person that got squeezed.
Nobody feels bad for you.
It's like, this person got a burn from burning their money. Like, no, nobody feels bad from you. So it's just definitely one of those things that we laugh at, and you have to laugh at yourself. A massage chair hurt you. Let me say that again. A massage chair hurt you. That's hilarious. I don't care who you are. That's hilarious.
I mean, they've got fixed movements, so it's not like. That's the part that interests me now is those massage chairs have very fixed movements, because the idea is it's only supposed to push on you. So at some point, you've got these two little pins that kind of go on this little rotating, trajectory, right? At some point, the pins went down, back up and over, and trapped her foot. And I got to think, she's got to have a pretty big foot then, right? Because we can't see this girl. We can't see what we're working with here. But those pins are designed to just lightly rub around the edges. And if your foot got stuck, then my understanding is that the pins probably went through their cycle and stopped at the top, in which case they would create kind of a, like a pincher movement. And so you couldn't get out. But it's not supposed to be. I mean, think about what would think about the space that would be needed to trap a foot. And that's not something that any massage chair manufacturer is going to allow. You got to get the average size foot out of there. So what kind of leg are we talking about here?
A fat one is what you're saying. I think that was a lot of words to say that is a fat ass foot.
Talking about ham? What are we swollen ass hankles, as Bernie used to say. Is that what we're going for here?
I had to hit the ball off of Frankenstein's fat foot. That's what's going on there. That is
I'll go eat some hay.
That's
hang down by the bay.
Bitch.
I just may.
That is hilarious. And of course it happened in Florida. And that's amazing. And I think this was a really good find, Danny.
That wraps it because Florida. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's get into parenting.
We can make kids right now. That's why we're here.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
Nice parenting comes to us from The Economist. This is a long one, Leon, so I'm going to kind of skim it in the interest of getting to the truth of the matter. But I did read this before just to make sure that we were prepared for this discussion. And this is science, my friend. This is not mumbo jumbo. This actually comes to us from doctors in the medical field. It's hardly surprising that pregnancy and childbirth, 9 months of enormous changes to a woman's body, also change her brain. And they do, by causing certain parts of it to shrink. Fathers, it might be thought, would be unaffected, but no. There is evidence that their brains shrank too. A paper published in Cerebral Cortex by Magdalena Martinez Garcia of the Gregorio Marañón Health Research Institute in Madrid and her colleagues divulges the details. Spanish people, Leon. The Spanish.
They can't be trusted.
The researchers used the scans to compare the volume and thickness of the cerebral cortex, the part of the brain responsible inter many alia for things like sensory perception, language, and cognition with that of the subcortex, a disparate collection of structures such as the hippocampus and the amygdala. They confirmed that there is a small but consistent decrease in the volume of the cortices of new fathers after the birth of their child. This shrinkage is not, however, evenly distributed. The biggest reductions are in the area at the back of the cortex where information from the retina is processed and interpreted, and in the default mode network, a piece of neural circuitry distributed between 3 different cortical areas, which is associated with daydreaming, mind wandering, and thinking about the self and others. Got that, Leon?
So this is a
Become
genetic
dad,
thing.
You go under the magnifying glass. You burn ants, buddy.
Yep. Is that what, I didn't interpret it that way. I feel like what it was just saying is you don't get to daydream anymore and dream about better times. It's making you focus on your kid. Is that what it's saying?
I think that's an evolutionary thing of the dads that did not experience this shrinking of the hippocampus, right? Have the court reporter read back the testimony. That's correct.
Yep, hippocampus.
The cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex actually shrinks. Now, the subcortex, which includes the hippocampus involved in long-term memory, and the amygdala, which regulates fear, those are not affected. But the hippocampus, the back of the hippocampus actually shrinks. And so what you worry about is you lose daydreaming, mind wandering, and thinking about the self and others. And so what happens is, evolutionarily speaking, when you become a father, you actually become laser focused on your children. That to me makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The article
Which
goes on.
also, can I chime in there?
Say what you're gonna say. Say you can say something.
How many times have you heard this bullshit thing that says, that women have the attachment to a child much differently than men do? Now, I do agree, right? Because they gave birth to the child and what have you, and the moms are amazing and incredible, and what they do is unfathomable. But there's also this misconception that there isn't a direct connection or biological thing that happens when you're a dad. It's almost as if you just keep hearing, you drop your seed, you either stick around for the kid or you don't, but you're not really as attached as the mom. That's a thing. This is telling you, no, when the kid comes out, the men also go through a biological change, turning them into dads. And I think there's something to it. I think. Keep going. I'm interested.
They found that postpartum changes in brain volume predicted both how attached a mother felt to her child and the absence of otherwise or hostility to it. That's in the shrinking in the mother's brain. Examination of the Spanish fathers in Dr. Martinez Garcia's study by measuring their brain activity while they looked at pictures of both their own baby and other infants found a similar effect. It showed that those with the largest reductions in brain volume had the strongest MRI responses to images of their own children. Determining exactly how these pro-parental neural changes come about in men is way beyond the current skill of neuroscience, but it is intriguing to observe that at least in the case of Homo sapiens, a rare example of a mammal in which fathers as well as mothers nurture offspring, similar postpartum parental attitudes seem to be getting wired into both sexes.
Hey, it is.
Now, I find that interesting because I want to quote Jay Moore on this one, as he says, this is the first generation of I love you dads. The idea that the dad is around, that the dad is interested, that the dad is not only consumed with breadwinning and protection and maintaining the finances of the family. Like, we're the first generation that's like, no, I love the kid. I'll take it. The idea that when the mother leaves the kids with dad's not babysitting them. Those are dad's kids. He's doing what he's supposed to, like that Chris Rock joke. I take care of my kids. You're supposed to, you stupid motherfucker.
They're your kids.
They're your kids. That's a thing now. So it's not, it would make sense that this brain shrinking phenomena. Now, my curiosity, of course, is they don't have any time-stamped testing on this one. So maybe it could be the age of the I love you dad that's causing the shrinking. We don't know. Like, could they go back and do this in the 50s? If they could do the mechanic or the assembly line worker, does his brain shrink, or does he just go back to chain smoking, drinking, and dropping dead at 55? I'd be very curious. Anyway, I love my kids. I'm pretty sure my brain shrinks because as much as I want to kill them, within 20 minutes of being away from them, I immediately want them back. So I believe it.
Yeah, I totally buy into it. There is a transformation that happens. You can't describe it. You can't articulate. You either have to be a parent and a participating parent, I might add, to actually know what's going on. So I think there is more than just feelings. I think there's a biological impact. And this is very interesting.
The shrinking of the cerebrum.
Okay.
So it says.
Kids make you dumber. That's what I got out of this article.
You don't need that brain anyway. You're just wasting it because you're stupid. All right. So what are we going to have here, Leon? How are we feeling about stuff? What kind of day do we have?
Well, I got to tell you, I try
he doesn't
not to
know. That's okay, because it's time for Leon Loathes.
So far, Danny, I haven't heard a single logical reason. No, don't accept this. It's frustrating. And we haven't cured cancer. We have not cured cancer. I don't know the answer. I'm just ranting about it.
Leon, the floor is yours.
I try to keep two major subjects from overtaking the show because I'd say 90% of podcasts out there are either about politics or sports. And
those are easy topics.
I try to stay away from them, but I cannot stay away from this sports topic any longer. I know that this is very common. I think that if you're on social media, you're very familiar with this topic, but I think it's important that we bring it up. I think the future
sports?
of America.
Did you say sports?
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
No sports. No. No.
No, I did. This is about sports. This is absolutely about sports, and not just any sport. The NFL, that is America's sport. I think everyone needs to just come to terms with the fact that baseball is not America's sport. Football has become America's sport, and the real one where you hit people. And I think we
hitting
all,
people is American.
We all know what happened. The NFL got greedy, and they tried to expand what is the toughest sport into more days of the week. And we need to vote with our wallets and say, please stop giving us Thursday night football. Oh. It is total dog shit. It is dog shit. It is a big pile of garbage. It is statistically, go and look at it. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Go look at it. More injuries happen on Thursday night football statistically than any other night.
Is that
or day of football?
That's
That's a thing. And the reason is they're not prepared. They're not prepared. They need more time to heal their bodies, to get over the battle that they went through on Sunday or Monday. And they are not ready on Thursday. They're not ready. They didn't watch enough film. Their bodies are not ready. And they go out there, and it is almost laughable on how unprepared and the unlaughable part is how injured they get. We all know I'm a Dolphins fan, right? Diehard Dolphins fan.
Oh, Tua.
And Tua's big injury happened. Big surprise Thursday night. Now, why did it happen? A lot of speculation out there. I happen to be one of those people he probably had a concussion the Sunday prior. He did not have enough time to recover. He goes out on Thursday night and gets smashed in the head again, or his head bangs on the ground, and he has a really serious concussion. And that game was only interesting because of that injury, in all honesty. The next 2 weeks of Thursday night football was laughable. I think they had no touchdowns the next one. They didn't get another touchdown till late in the second quarter of the Thursday night after that. Even the commentators are like, for the love of God, we need to get a damn touchdown. This is embarrassing. And I think we deserve a better product. And I think the players out there that are working their ass off and trying to prepare and get their bodies ready to go out there and go to battle and beat themselves up for our entertainment, they need that time. So we need to vote. We need to get these greedy sons of bitches out of there and say, Thursday night is not a good football night. Stop it. Sunday, Monday, we're on board. We're on board all day long. Thursday, let it go. Let's let high schools and college, let them have Thursdays. But NFL, no way. It's just too fast. It's too high rate of speed. There's too much bullshit happening. These guys are getting hurt. They're ruining the sport. They're ruining their brand. And I know that this rant will not change Mr. Goodell's opinion because the money is too good. I've never felt bad for Amazon in my whole life. But boy, did they get a shit deal when they bought this Thursday night contract. Everyone knows that. Again, I don't know the answer. I'm just ranting about it, but I'm pretty sure the answer is not to have Thursday night football. I don't think anyone's going to cry about it. I don't think any of the fans are going to cry about it. Nobody cherishes Thursday night football. This was thrown upon us. And there's a lot of people who just don't even know it's on. So
seemed a bit of a waste for Mr. Michaels to take all that money only to go to a shit show, huh?
It is an
left
absolute
Collinsworth all alone on Sundays, which I'm not necessarily like, don't cry for Collinsworth, but
I actually like Herbie calling the games too. Like, he's not bad. I think he'll be, if they want him to call more NFL games, I think that he's the right man for it. I think he is. I'm actually disappointed being an Ohio State fan. You know, I'm a big Ohio State fan, and he's an Ohio State guy, Herb Street. And I think I was going to hate Tony Romo as an announcer. I wanted to hate him, but he was spot on. Yeah. Like, he called the plays.
He's good color man.
And what he was looking, and Herbie does the same thing. He is all over it. He is absolutely calling it. And you know what? If you hate him, you hate him but you need to take a serious look at yourself if you hate those two guys, because it's probably something else, but not the way that they're calling the game, because they're pretty fucking good at it.
Those
I don't know
guys
anybody
make the
else.
game exciting.
They do. They know what they're talking about. I don't want them to know that. Well, I'm Herbie, I do, but I didn't want Romo to. And Romo's spot on. And I'm like, I appreciate listening to him more than almost anybody else.
Yeah, I mean,
Chris
it seems pretty clear he's a better broadcaster than he was a quarterback.
Yeah, he picks it apart. And I think production wise, they're on top of it. They got the right talent there. Everything's going, except for the product sucks. And it will never get better unless you give the Thursday night guys are only the ones that are coming off a bye. So you give them
that's
like
what I was going to say. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah.
Why don't just have Thursdays be coming off a bye?
Then I'm okay with it. But that isn't the way it is now.
Like,
so
the only disadvantage maybe is if you have a Thursday game followed by a Monday night game, and then you've got a week and a half of rest. Oh, tragedy. Other than that, you're right. From Sunday to Thursday, because you've got travel days, you don't get a chance to do an accurate workout. You don't get a chance to do accurate rest. So the only way it makes any sense at all is if you do a Sunday at home and a Thursday at home, maybe. Because then you don't have to go anywhere, and then you can just dedicate yourself to rest.
It's going to give you a better advantage for sure, but it still sucks because they need those extra 3 days of time in the ice bath, time in the film room. They need it. They need it in the sport. They need to rest. They need to get their bodies ready to go. And I think that it just isn't ready on Thursday. And it's a stark difference. Go look it up. Go look up the injuries on Thursdays versus any other night.
I think Bob's out there should look it up for sure, but I believe it. Fitting that you picked a sports topic tonight, Leon, because today is the first of the great sports equinox days.
No shit.
The greatest day in American pro sports. Welcome to the 2022 sports equinox. It's that rare alignment in the sports calendar when all 5 major American professional sports leagues are in action at the same time. Not to be confused with Dead Day or Black Day or the day when no sports are on, which typically happens sometime in April, I believe.
I think
but tonight, the sports equinox will happen it'll happen tonight, which is we're recording on a Thursday, the 20th, and it will happen again on the 23rd. The sports equinox will happen on Sunday, but today marks the first day of the year where Major League Baseball, National Football League, National Basketball Association, National Hockey League, and Major League Soccer all play games on the same day. 5-course meal.
Fall is the greatest time for sports.
Eat your heart out, baby. Let's see. Today we got, as of this recording, we got the Yankees and the Stros. We got the Saints and the Cardinals tonight, Thursday night football. Let's see if Thursday night football redeems itself. Bucks and the
Blue
Sixers.
Jackets won in hockey.
Yep. Bucks and the Sixers and the Clippers and the Lakers played b-ball. Then you got the Devils and the Islanders, the Jets at the Golden Knights, and a bunch of other hockey games. And then in the world of soccer, you've got the Philadelphia Union and Football Club Cincinnati versus Los Angeles Football Club and the LA Galaxy.
There you go.
Sports equinox.
Sportsing hard.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. We like to make fun of Madden, right? About here's a guy. You just got to put the ball in the end zone. It's the only way to score. Boom. I heard
the only way to win the game is to score more points.
Yeah. So the other one I heard tonight was this is when you're talking, not the coach. This is when you're talking to the players. Like, yeah, we just got to get out there and make plays. Like all these guys working out there on the field, and like we all together, and we trying to just make plays. And it's like the team that makes more plays is just going to make more points. You know what I'm saying? We just got to put some plays together, and we got to make more plays.
We got to execute the plan that was put forward us. We got to be executing. First of all, I want to say glory to God. And then I want to say we just need to execute the plan.
Just got to execute better. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to put more plays together. And I'm thinking, all right, so at some point, either they don't want to talk to the press or they're worried about blowback from the sports writers, which I kind of get. And the sports writers should know that. Listen, if you're going to be a dick, you ruin it for everybody. And then all you're going to get is, well, we sport balled better than the other team sport balled. So we're going to sport ball in the future better than the other team sport balls. And that's the way we get to the sport ball championships. So this whole bullshit about, we got to make plays, we got to execute. We could have done a lot better than we did, but we didn't because we didn't do as good as we wanted to do. That's on the fault of the sports journalism.
Yeah, they put them in that corner.
Assholes are fucking shit up for everybody else. That's why you can't get a good soundbite out of these guys.
Yeah. And Marshawn Lynch is a hero. I mean, what he did was hilarious.
Beast is a hero among all.
Yeah. What he did, basically publicly sit out for all of you who don't know who he is. He's a running back.
He played for Seattle, then he played for Oakland. I think he's back in Seattle.
He doesn't play anymore. But he used to hate the media so much. And then he would just walk out of the media room until he realized he was contractually obligated to go talk to those guys. So all he would do is go out there and just say no comment over and over, or eat chips, or just troll the hell out of them because he was so sick of being misquoted, or he would say something and they would go down the wrong road.
$11,000 per missed media event. And he finally said, F that. I do not wish to comment. Yeah. So did you play a good game today? I do not wish to comment. So was it raining outside the stadium? I do not wish to comment.
Yeah. It was glorious and a masterclass on how to troll the media. And I think everyone should respect what he did there.
I think everybody should understand what he's trying to tell you, and you should listen. Excellent load, Leon. Well done. That brings us to the bottom of the bottle.
This bitch is empty. Yeet!
Nice bottom of the bottle, Leon, comes to us on the precipice of the holidays, my friend. We have entered October, which means it is now autumn, which means it is now, quote unquote, the holidays.
Yeah, that's what all the stores tell me.
We're going to start hearing All I Want for Christmas Is You. By Miss Mariah Carey.
Glorious.
The next bottom of the bottle, it's a twofer. Number one, Mariah Carey is the first artist to top Billboard's Hot 100 in 4 separate decades. The 20s, the 10s, the aughts, and the 90s. For those of you keeping score at home, she has a number one song. And it's the same fucking song. Bottom of the bottle, part 2. Also Mariah Carey themed. Mariah Carey makes love with her own music playing in the background.
Which I totally respect.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me, do you think Barry White didn't do the same thing? You got me feeling
emotions. No, that's probably not. It's probably good Mariah Carey sex song. Dream Fantasy. Oh, that was a good one. That was the one where she had that flannel on. That was the one that
walk right every night talking sweet. That one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's upbeat. Just depends what she's in for that night.
Yeah. We got to go through Mariah Carey's catalog now. We got to understand what she's rocking to.
Some pace.
Her and Nick Cannon.
So you're telling me though, like this can't be unusual. I promise you Marvin Gaye did it and Barry White did it.
Well, listen, Marvin Gaye and Barry White, I don't think they count. Do you think that Papa Roach goes every time they get down, they go, cut my life in 2 pieces? Because I know the radio plays it way too much.
No, but I think Rod Stewart. And Tom Jones. I mean,
oh, Tom Jones. Tom Jones can have sex with himself.
What's the other? I'm totally brain farting on that one dude in Vegas, black hair. He was in Christmas or Vegas Vacation, hitting on
Wayne Newton. You think Wayne Newton does his own stuff?
100%.
Yeah. You know what I'm wondering though? What about Neil Diamond?
Oh,
especially if he's nailing a girl named Caroline.
Which I want to say, for a Jewish man, he launched a great Christmas album, and I think everyone should reach out 100%. There and get it. Yeah. He sang the hell out of Christmas songs.
That reminds me of another funny Jay Moore joke. He's like, do you ever know that people get really, really excited when listening to Neil Diamond songs and they fucking scream it? Like at some point he's on stage, he's going to stop and he goes, wait a minute. Is that you saying, oh, oh, oh? Come on up here on stage with me. I want you to sing with me.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Mariah Carey. I'll tell you what, though.
What do you think?
My new tradition. Whatever the fuck he wants to, but definitely Fat Boy Slim.
Fat Boy Slim. Yes.
I think that if you haven't seen and you're not hoping every year that Mariah Carey will never have another dumpster fire on New Year's Eve, you're not one of my friends or anyone I want to know, because that is glorious. That is absolutely spectacular when she goes out there 3 sheets to the wind and cannot sing her own song that she sang 5 million times, and she pulls a full diva. Go watch it. Go watch every single one of them. It's amazing. I always stay up. I stay up to midnight just for that, hoping that Mariah Carey will sing and completely fall flat on her face again.
You know what, Leon? I got to give it to you. What do you think George Michael listened to when he was getting it on?
Yep.
I got to give it to you. You win. Hands down.
Yeah. I would.
Well done, sir.
What a pickup line.
That's our show. You can email us at bottleofbrown@gmail.com. Call us at 602-529-4562. Leave a message for Danny, Leon, or Mr. Jomes. We'll play it on the air. Give us ideas for content or refute anything we say on the show. If you like the show, please like, follow, subscribe, share. Tell everybody you know. It's the best way for us to get more listeners. Hopefully we'll get advertisers who will actually pay. And that way we can do this full time, because that is a dream, a very hopeful, long-term dream. Until then,
got a dream.
You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Share a drink with us next episode. Same brown time, same brown channel. bottleofbrown.com.
This place is dead anyway, man.